counsels, they think they're God. They seem to want to people at any cost.
Well, President Trump's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, slamming Robert Mueller, accusing him of intimidating witnesses like Paul Manafort and Michael Cohen during the Russia probe. So is the president right by calling the investigation a trap designed to get him out of office? Here now to debate is Democratic political analyst Robert Patillo and conservative political analyst Ken Chase. Thank you both for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Ken, I will start with you. What do you think? Is it a trap? Do you agree?
Well, I don't know that it's a trap. The one thing that we can say is that it's a problem for the Trump presidency. But the prosecutor's not doing anything unethical by getting witnesses to flip. There's smoke here. There's not a smoking gun. As of now, there isn't anything on Trump as to what the fundamental charge of the investigation is supposed to be, which is coordination and links with the Russian government. The most we've seen as to that is most recently with the Trump Tower in Moscow and the Putin penthouse. And that got about as far off the ground as a lead balloon. So there hasn't been much. Robert, your take on it.
Well, I think what we have to understand is that when the president says that this is a trap insinuates there's some truth underlying to it. That when you're protesting this much, where you're sending your lawyers out, when you're continuously tweeting about it, it makes you seem guilty. It does not play well in the court of public opinion.
Well, it was Rudy Giuliani that said it.
Well, yeah, the president's lawyer who said it. We have to understand that what it makes it look like is that the administration is trying to shut down the probe, that they're trying to hide what is going on. Just let the probe play out. Let the American people see what is going on. And if you've done nothing wrong, then the truth will come out.
Well, Ken, the president has repeatedly said that he is going to allow this to play out, but that the American people are ready for it to be over with. And then we have, Robert Mueller, who continues to seem to come back with all of these people like Manafort coming back and then now charging him with lying. And this seems to be a pattern with Manafort and Mueller.
Oh, of course. And the American people are ready for this Russia probe to be over because there hasn't been a showing that there were links in coordination with the president or with the president's campaign. There hasn't been anything there. There have been guilty pleas about peripheral issues. We're talking about Manafort's business dealings. We're talking about Flynn. We're talking about Gates. We're talking about all these things that happened that have nothing to do with the campaign. So, yes, the American people are ready to move on.
And what do you think about that, Robert? I mean, the American people say that they're ready to move on, but yet the Mueller investigation seems to be the one not willing to move on and wrap up.
Well, the good thing about criminal investigations or special counsel investigations in this case is that it is not a public opinion issue. They're getting to the root of a crime which may have taken place or coordination which may have taken place. And we have to understand that it will be the probe will wrap up when it's ready to be wrapped up, when it's done. And I think just the fact that we say that they're pleading or they're taking these plea deals on peripheral issues. We have actual criminals who are in high-level positions in the American government who lied to investigators, who lied to Congress. I think it's a good thing that the probe is rooting these people out of our governmental system. And if that's the only thing that comes out of the probe, it's still worthwhile doing instead of having these people running our country who are no liars. Or is it Mueller trying to
force them to lie, as Jerome Corsi is alleging in the criminal complaint that he is filing today?
I'm a criminal defense attorney. You cannot force somebody to lie. There's either the truth or not the truth. If you testify truthfully, then you won't have to take a plea deal. You won't be convicted of lying. We have to get these liars and these criminals out of our government. That is the deep state that the American people voted against in 2016. That is what the Mueller probe is doing, rooting them out of our government and putting them where they belong, behind bars.
Going to bring in now Judge Andrew Napolitano, Fox News senior judicial analyst. Judge, always great to get your expertise on these things. What matters most in all of this?
Whether or not the authorities to whom Jerome Corsi filed his complaint take it seriously. And I say that because almost everything that he has accused the prosecutors of doing is standard operating procedure for prosecutors.
Oh.
This is, as you and I have discussed off air, the dark side of law enforcement. It is not neat and it is not pretty. Prosecutors can coerce, they can threaten, they can lie, they can deceive, they can do anything short of actually committing a crime in order to extract evidence from a witness or in order to flip the witness to their side. And that's apparently what they've tried to do with Jerry Corsi.
All right, so that's Corsi. Let's move on to the president's personal attorney, Michael Cohen. You say what matters most with him is the 70 hours he spent with the FBI.
Right. A lot of our friends and colleagues have said, well, big deal, he admitted a lie and he corrected it in the courtroom. The important thing for our analysis is not what Michael Cohen said to the federal judge last Thursday. It's what he said to the FBI in the 70 hours that they debriefed him. That is an extraordinary amount of time for them to spend with him. What is also important is the timing. Michael Cohen's guilty plea coming 5 days after President Trump submits under oath his written answers to the special prosecutor. I'm going to suggest to you there must be a contradiction between the two. The timing could not have been a coincidence.
Rudy Giuliani says no, that those answers will hold. And in journalism, we call them evergreen.
Right. You know, Rudy has been very effective at persuading the public to believe. You know, you just had Schlapp on, who's taking polls on this.
Right, Max Schlapp at CPAC.
Matthew, right. And Rudy's been very effective at persuading the public that the indictment or impeachment of Donald Trump is untenable. That doesn't persuade a judge or a jury, but that does persuade the public, and that's what Rudy's been spending his time doing. He knows that the techniques that he's blasting are the same techniques he used when he was the chief federal prosecutor.
Well, maybe that's why he's so good at blasting it.
Yes.
Because he knows how to do it. But in all fairness, don't you kind of have to know what the other side is capable of based on your own experience?
Yes.
Otherwise, you can't help your client.
That's the value that Rudy that he brings to the president. He knows how the government operates.
Here is what is not basic to me, and that is now a new political drumbeat for this to be wrapped up. Is Mueller fettered by that? He's already said or indicated that the president wouldn't be indicted anyway. So is it okay for people to bang the drum and say wrap it up and for him to be fettered by it?
It's okay for people to say whatever they want, but it's not going to influence Mueller.
You don't think so?
I don't think so, because evidence does not come to you when you're the prosecutor in an orderly fashion, and it doesn't come to you signed, sealed, and delivered. You have to corroborate it, and those things take time.
Real quickly before I have to let you go, the idea of pardoning at that federal level, not problematic if the president wants to do it legally.
Pardoning who?
Whether it's Manafort or Cohen.
Right, well,
Cohen might not get it now, though.
The Manafort problem, the Manafort pardon would be problematic because at the time he pleaded guilty to federal charges for which the president can pardon him, he also admitted state crimes for which the president cannot pardon him.
Okay, so you get half but not the other. You and I have talked about that.
Yes.
So it lessens the sentence, perhaps.
Well, it would relieve Paul Manafort of some of the burden that he's facing with law enforcement, but not all of it.
All right. Judge, we'll bring you back, as we always do with those moments where you can make it all make sense.
Thank you, Harris.
Thank you.
Conservative author and Jerome Corsi filing a criminal and ethics complaint against special counsel Robert Mueller today. This comes after Corsi's alleged ties to former Trump campaign advisor Roger Stone and WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange became the forefront of the special counsel's probe. Last week, Corsi told us he would never lie before a federal judge in order to target the president.
Well, if I have to die in jail over this to get the point across to the American people that this is not the standard of justice in America I grew up with, I'll die in jail. I will not swear before a judge to a lie.
Jerome Corsi taking the battle against a special counsel to a formal Justice Department complaint. Ethics and criminal complaint. Joining me now to take up Mueller's witch hunt and his efforts to turn witnesses against this president, Dan Bongino, former Secret Service agent, author of the book Spygate, The Attempted Sabotage of Donald J. Trump. We urge you to buy the book and read it as soon as you can. Dan, good to see you. First, the issue with Corsi. He says that this flat out, he was being blackmailed for the special counsel trying to force him to commit perjury against the President of the United States.
Well, Lou, listen, prosecutors at the federal level, Bob Mueller or whoever it may be, trying to push witnesses into testifying to something is nothing new. Here's the problem here, Lou. What are they trying to get him to testify to? Nobody. Do you understand, Lou, that nobody has pled guilty to the actual conspiracy charge yet? In other words, what the Democrats and the liberal media and the swamp rat types, the rodents in D.C. in this swamp, have been telling us for months is there's this big collusion conspiracy out there between Trump and the Russians to impact the election, right? We all agree that that's out there, right? Nobody's pled guilty to the conspiracy charge. I mean, people get arrested for things all the time. When is the prosecutor, Bob Mueller, going to get someone who actually has some knowledge of this collusion thing he's talking about?
When are the American people going to wise up to one central fact? That the Republican Party is working as hard against this president as the Democratic Party. Otherwise, this thing would be over. If McConnell and Ryan had stood up and said, it's over, it would be over. It is stunning to me to watch what this country is tolerating in the name of partisan politics. It is disgusting. It's appalling. And there is going to be hell to pay because there will be payback. Don't you agree?
Lou, yeah, of course. Not just are the Republicans a jellyfish-like spineless group of amoebas on this, in the fact that they won't hold Mueller's the most powerful man in America right now, Lou.
Oh, yeah.
He has no oversight at all. The president's subjected to a potential impeachment by the Constitution. We can have judges removed. Congressmen and women can be voted out of office. What, Bob Mueller, nobody cares. Jeff Flake loves him. The swamp loves him. The Democrats think he's the greatest thing ever. The media celebrates this guy. This guy's conducting the biggest scam in modern American history. This witch hunt, nonsensical garbage investigation into a conspiracy that doesn't exist. This is the first conspiracy case I've seen, analyzing this as a former federal agent, where nobody actually pleads guilty to the actual conspiracy. We're going to have people pleading guilty to jaywalking next. I mean, this is unbelievable. And people are falling for it. And Lou, one more thing. Republicans were involved also in this scheme to target Trump, not just covering for Mueller. Right. I'm not a big book plug or anything, but it's pretty detailed, laid out in my book and Greg Jarrett's and others. The Republicans are involved in this too.
Oh, absolutely. That's why, that's why I said this thing would be over. If the leadership of the Republican Party had any guts and any principles whatsoever.
No, they don't.
But we know
the Democrats, if this was them, Lou, if this shoe was on the other foot, the Democrats, listen, I am no fan of liberal ideology, you know that. But the Democrats would have shut this thing down 6 months ago knowing there's no there. Nope, the Republicans just let it go. Biggest scam in American history.
When you look at, how did you style them, spineless amoebas? The fact is...
Yeah. Jellyfish.
The Republican Party, there's very good likelihood that Robert Mueller will still be in the office of the special counsel a decade from now, unless somebody takes action. Sure. Dan, great to have you with us as always. Dan Bongino.
Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.